Welcome to Dewlay Cheesemakers. My name's Nick Kenyon, who together with my brother Richard, we own and run Dewlay. Over the next few minutes, we're going to take you through how we make Lancashire cheese and what makes this food so special. And if that's not enough, we've got a viewing gallery, a museum, and a fabulous new cheese shop where you can sample a range of our products.
Lancashire, an area of outstanding natural beauty. With its rolling hills and low-lying pasture land, dairy farming and cheese making is in our Lancastrian blood. And with this great land comes rich, fresh milk, perfect for our mouth-watering and buttery Lancashire cheese all year round. Located on the outskirts of the market town of Garstang, Dewlay has a purpose-built cheese-making dairy and shop. We also lay claim to being the greenest cheesemaker in the country, thanks to our wind turbine, which helps to power the dairy. Proudly producing award-winning cheese, Richard and I follow in our grandfather and father's footsteps and are now third-generation cheesemakers. Established in 1957 by my grandfather George, our dairy now boasts a wonderful new cheese shop and museum. Ideal for foodie and cheese lovers of all ages, you can explore and sample our full range of cheeses to find that perfect one. We even stock our traditional 19-kilo Lancashire cheeses for those of you that really want a showstopper. Or visit our deli counter where our staff can offer expert advice on the perfect cheese board. We also offer a range of the finest complimentary products, from crackers and biscuits to chutneys and jams, so make sure you visit before leaving. Carry on your Lancashire cheese experience in the museum. Take time to read and see the fascinating history of cheesemaking in the area before seeing cheesemaking in action thanks to our viewing gallery that overlooks the cheesemaking hall. Sourcing milk from local dairy farmers, the milk tanker delivers fresh cow's milk every day, where it is then pasteurised to remove any harmful bacteria. The milk is then transferred into vats, with our largest vat being able to hold 13,000 litres of milk. Once full, we add our own special starter culture, which we have inoculated and developed since 1967, giving our Lancashire cheese its distinctive flavour. Next, rennet is added to thicken the milk. Traditionally from the lining of the calf's stomach, we now use a vegetarian rennet, which coagulates the milk to produce what is known as junket. After stirring for an hour and a half, this is then transferred into the open vats, ready for the cheesemakers. To ensure consistency throughout the making process, samples are taken from each batch and tested by our expert cheesemakers, with the results being recorded in our daybook. Curd is cut by hand by our team of cheesemakers using special curd knives and overhead cutters. Each vat holds over 1 tonne of cheese, which is turned by hand. But as traditional cheesemakers, this manual work is all part of the process. Now this work is called draining, and it allows the whey to drain away so that any excess liquid and moisture is removed, leaving just the curd behind, which will eventually become cheese. Each variety of cheese has its own special recipe, but after around 2 hours in these vats, the curd is then pushed out onto the conveyor belts, ready for the next stage of the process. The curd at this point is in large chunks. However, to get the right texture, the curd needs to be in small, scrambled egg-like pieces, so it is passed through a milling machine. But what makes Lancashire cheese so unique is that it's made to a 2-day curd recipe. Traditionally, farmers did not have enough milk to make a 20-kilo cheese from 1 day's milking, so they would mix the curd from several days together. This gives Lancashire cheese its unique and distinct texture, and we still carry out this method, with the curd placed in a vat, wrapped and stored overnight. The following day, new curd is made and mixed with the previous day's curd. The required amount of salt is then added by hand to act as a preservative, as well as adding flavour. Curd is then placed into moulds, weighed and then pressed in our automatic pressing machine. However, to produce our traditional round cheeses, we use a manual press. The curd is placed into stainless steel moulds and turned by hand to knit the curd together. After about 2 days, the young cheese is removed from the press and is bandaged using traditional muslin cloth and then waxed. The wax protects the cheese so it can continue to mature and develop its flavour in our temperature controlled maturing room. Placed on racking, our cold store can hold up to 200 tonnes of cheese at any one time. Maturing time for cheese varies from 2 weeks for our crumbly Lancashire to up to 12 months for our special reserve. Even during this maturing process, we are constantly monitoring its progress by grading and sampling each batch of cheese. Our special team of cheese graders, including myself and Richard, core the cheese using a cheese iron. First, we check the texture of the cheese on the iron, followed by its aroma. We then work the cheese in our hand before the final test, the flavour. Only then will cheese be ready for sale, so we can ensure the perfect consistency in whatever we produce. Back in the dairy, we also produce whey cream butter, using whey left over from the cheese making process, which helps give it a unique sweet taste. We skim off the cream before transferring it into the butter churn. The butter churn spins the cream until it is churned into thick, tasty butter. Because of its sweet taste, whey butter is perfect for baking and is sold to many bakeries in the area, as well as our shop. And so, we and our team of cheesemakers carry on producing cheese and butter using traditional methods and recipes passed on by my father and grandfather. Why not see for yourself and try some of our delicious award-winning cheese today?